Hello and welcome. So, I'm not really sure how this is going to work and what I'm going to say to you and why I'm doing this, but long story short, I have a son and he lives in Mexico. He's lived in Mexico for, I think, 9 years now. He's been married to Karen for 8 years. She's Mexican. And I'm going to visit him, and that's what this channel will be about, my journey. So I am living in the UK, in the middle of England, at a little town called Stourbridge. And as I say, my son David is living out in Mexico. Now, I've visited him twice before, but it's still a huge deal. I'll be travelling alone. I don't speak the language. I have had lessons actually from my daughter-in-law. She's a Spanish teacher on the internet. She is thriving Spanish. And I did okay. And it certainly helped me while I was there last time, which was 4 years ago. I could make myself understood with my terrible black country accent, as my son tells me. Bless him. He's fluent, absolutely fluent. He speaks several languages, actually. He's lived all around the world. And I'll obviously tell you more about him as we go on this journey together. So, yes, basically, in a nutshell, I am travelling to Mexico. I am staying in Querétaro, where David and Karen live. I will be flying from Birmingham Airport. We did have a long conversation about flying from London because that's a direct flight, which makes more sense in a lot of ways, but London's a big scary place. And for some reason, I don't think that Mexico is. I know it's irrational, but this is me, and you'll get used to the way that I think, which isn't logical. Anyway, I feel more comfortable, safer going from Birmingham. So I will get a taxi from my home in Stourbridge and I will go to Birmingham Airport and I will go to fly to Amsterdam. And I think I've got about 2.5 layover in Amsterdam, and I'm okay with that. I'm not going to say I'm not nervous, I am. All my friends say you're very brave. And my son always says they do realise you're not flying the plane, Mum, you're only sitting on it. He just doesn't get it. So I fly to Amsterdam, and from Amsterdam I fly to Mexico City. Now, when I've flown before, I've gone from Mexico City and had to catch a coach to Querétaro, which is about 3.5, 4 hours. And that's always a little bit nerve-wracking, sort of trying to explain that I want a ticket. I remember the last time I went 4 years ago, the lady kept pushing my suitcase back. I kept giving it to her. She kept pushing it back. She's talking to me in Spanish. I'm thinking, I haven't got a clue what you're saying to me. And I'm thinking, I've just bought my ticket. I'm getting on this bus. You're having my suitcase. And she was definitely not having my suitcase. Luckily, I don't know whether it was Spanish, but someone stepped in and gabble. And he said, she's trying to tell you that there isn't room for your suitcase on the coach at the moment, so can you wait a few minutes? And I thought, oh, okay, right. But at this point, I think she'd given up with me and despaired and just took it and tutted, and that was that. So, yeah, as I say, I normally go on the coach and David meets me at the other end. But this time David said, why don't you spend a few days in Mexico City? You've never been to Mexico City. And I'm thinking, because it's a big scary place. And you told me the very first time I went to Mexico, you don't want to get stuck in Mexico City, Mum. And I said that to him, and he said, yeah, but that was like sort of, nearly 10 years ago, and I know Mexico City more now. I can tell you where to go. It's like London, there's good places and there's bad places, and obviously I'm going to send you to a nice place. And, well, have been talking to my new friend AI, because I talk to AI. I like to talk, as you can tell. So basically, I'm staying in Condesa. So David said, you just need to book a hotel, Mum. And I'm thinking, well, you could do that for me. But it's like, you'll figure it out. Because David's a bit like that. He's a character. Love him to bits, but yeah. So I thought, okay, fine, I can do this. So I've been researching hotels and I found a hotel. And David was like, just make sure like you can check in sort of at 3 o'clock in the morning. And there I had a problem because I spent most of the afternoon looking for hotels on Sunday afternoon. And I'm panicking because they're all saying check out, or rather check in, is 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And I'm arriving like about 3:30 in the morning. So my head's telling me, this isn't going to work. I'm going to have to hang around till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I had a light bulb moment and I thought, Jill, you're stupid. You're flying on a Thursday. You land on a Friday, but you're booking the hotel for Thursday night so you can go straight to the hotel when I land. So 3 o'clock in the morning on Friday is after 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday. So little panic, but kicked myself, realised what I'd done. So I've booked the hotel and I have emailed them, as you do, and said just to double check I'm okay to book in the early hours of the morning. AI had told me it wasn't a good idea to get an Airbnb and be fiddling about with key codes and numbers in a strange Mexican place in the middle of the night, and David agreed when I told him. So so I'm staying in the hotel. I emailed them, yes, I can definitely check in when I get off the plane in the early hours of the morning. And I did say, can I have a kettle? Because I'm a woman of a certain age. I need that cup of tea. I'm going to have a cup of tea when I land in Mexico. And they said that, yeah, there are tea making facilities and coffee making facilities. I do drink coffee, but I can live without it. But over there, it's really nice, actually. They put cinnamon in and all sorts. So, yeah. So that's my plan. And I'm thinking, okay, I can do this. I will wander around Mexico City on my own, not speaking the language. It'll be fine. And then David said, actually, Mum, if you fly in over a weekend, which I actually am, we can come up and see you and show you around. So it's not so scary now. So David and Karen will be meeting me on the Friday afternoon. So in my head, a lot goes on in my head. You'll hear me say that a lot. A lot goes on in my head. So in my head, I fly to Amsterdam. I change planes. I fly to Mexico City. And then I negotiate a taxi, and I've researched this quite a bit and watched loads of YouTube videos and goodness knows what, Instagram, and even like packing and packing tubes, which is another headache, and I'll tell you all about that because I'm a serial overpacker. A girl needs options. Girl needs options. That's my excuse. So, yeah, my head is telling me I will get to the hotel and I will sleep in the hotel. Don't have to check out till 12 midday. Perfect. Whether I will actually sleep or not, it remains to be seen. Hoping I'll sleep on the plane. Whether I'll sleep on the plane or not is another thing. Oh, and I'm going to take a pillow. Because I don't like these travel cushions. I can't be doing with them. I can't get comfortable. But if I pack a pillowcase and I pack something, I don't know, I haven't decided what, but if I wear something that I can take off and put in the pillowcase, then I've got a ready-made pillow, haven't I? Cushion. That's my thoughts. Told you I overthink things. So, go to the hotel, sleep, set an alarm, check out 12 o'clock, go and get some breakfast, which will be lunchtime, but there'll be breakfast in my head, again in my head. And then David and Karen will come and meet me, and I'm going to sort out, hopefully, a SIM card so that I've got internet access. But not the end of the world if I do have to spend a bit of money on roaming charges, whatever. And that's all right. And David did message me and say, how do you fancy going on a balloon ride, Mum? over the pyramids. And I said, you do remember I'm terrified of heights? And that's another story. I have seen the pyramids with David, and I climbed up on my hands and knees towards the top. And when I realised, okay, right now I've got to go down, I can remember saying to David, I don't think I can do this. And he was like, well, I can bring you sandwiches every week, but, it's only going to be once a week, Mum, and there's no toilets up here. You've got no choice. You've got to go down. And I was like, well, you don't have to hold my hand like a child. That's what his words were, like a child. And I said, yeah. And I went down, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when I got to the bottom, I got a round of applause out of a group of Mexicans that were watching me in the Cerrets at the bottom. So the thought of going in a hot air balloon was a little bit nervy, and I'm thinking, I don't know if I can do this. And I said, how much is it? And they said, no, we'll treat you. And I'm thinking, right, this trip is about pushing my boundaries. I'll do it. I've got to do it. I can't turn it down. But I'm not going to lie, I'm very nervous. And then David phoned me last week, and I said, what day are we going on the air balloon? Because I need to plan my wardrobe, because apparently it's a bit cooler up there, so I need a layer. I've researched that as well. And he said, oh, actually, Mum, I don't think we're going to have time to do it. It's going to be difficult because we're going to have to go out of Mexico City and back in. And I'm thinking, thank God for that then. So I haven't got to go in the hot air balloon. Would have been lovely. But I was also very aware I could panic, burst into tears and say, David, I can't do this. He would be furious. He'd just paid for me. And that would have been a wonderful start to my holiday. So, as I say, I don't really know why I'm doing this. More as a record for me, I think, and my adventures. And hopefully you'll come along for the journey. I know a little bit about Mexico. As I say, I've been there twice now. Talking to my hairdresser yesterday, had my hair done yesterday. It won't always look like this, because I can't blow dry it like they do. But anyway, and Sprods highlights, natural colour. Yeah, I'm very grey, but hey ho. Quite like it actually. So I digress. I was telling my hairdresser yesterday about my trip, and I said about the Day of the Dead. And I mentioned Day of the Dead a couple of times. And she says, what's Day of the Dead? So I explained. And it made me think, maybe I should do some sort of blog thing so that I can give my knowledge as the female David Palin. No, Michael Palin. And I was trying to explain that it's very much how I see it. We would raise a toast to somebody on their perfume and, sort of, this one's for you, Mum, happy birthday, whatever. And Karen took me to the cemetery, which sounds weird in itself, last time I went, which was also for Day of the Dead. And it's very much that the loved one comes and visits you on that day. So you would take a picnic to the graveside, which sounds weird, and my hairdresser was amazed. And you spend the day together. And if you're spending the day with your deceased loved one, what better way than to enjoy the foods that you enjoyed together when they were here, and they have a mariachi band, and listen to the music that you enjoyed together. And it's a beautiful tribute. So that's a little insight to what I know so far. Going to be lots of adventures. Slightly terrified, but very excited. Can't wait to see my boy. It's been 18 months since I've seen him. And as I say, come along for the journey. A 64-year-old white English woman from the UK is going to Mexico alone, not speaking the language. And I'm going to have fun, I'm going to have adventure, I'm going to push my boundaries. And I can do this. I can do this. See you soon.